So today on the Unsettled, we will be discussing the chilling case of the icebox murders, which involve Charles Rogers as the
murder suspect.
I would say he's the actual suspect. He's the murderer.
He's
not
the
the suspect.
He's the main guy.
Yeah, exactly. So this case took place in Houston, Texas. The date was June the 23rd and the year was 1965. Fred and Edwina Rogers hadn't answered the home phone in 3 days. And their nephew, Marvin...
Oh, what a name.
Sounds like a... I don't know, just...
He's Hank Marvin, isn't it?
Starving Marvin. That should be his name, really. So he was growing increasingly worried. Marvin decided to go to their home, but found the house all locked up, curtains drawn, he couldn't even see inside the home. So he did the next best thing, run to the police station and be like, hey...
Report missing persons.
Yeah, and he requested that the police went round and did a welfare check. So they went round. So at around 9 PM, 2 police officers arrived with Marvin, starving Marvin, to his aunt and uncle's home. They knocked on the door to get no answer. With that, the officers kicked the door in, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Which...
It's the only way you can do it.
Well, I suppose. I'd like to kick someone's door in. Yeah, you agree? Yeah? None the wiser. Someone's back door in. Inside, there was no sign of the elderly couple. Or their 43-year-old son, Charles. Which is a bit suspicious in itself. There's no one around. Anyway, Charles still lived there at home, but was a known recluse and only spoke to Fred and Edwina through letters. Which, you know, as you would if you didn't want to socialise. I did it once, slid letters under the door, told them what I want for dinner. Yeah, makes sense. To an extent. The home was disorderly, but Marvin stated that they were both old and not the best housekeepers. So the house, being messy, wasn't odd to him at all. What did seem odd was the mouldy dinner on the table and the horrific smell coming from the 3x5 foot refrigerator in the kitchen. Nice meat. The officer opened the fridge and saw what he thought was stacks of washed but unwrapped bags of meat covering every shelf in the fridge. It was when he opened the crispier drawer that he realised he was very wrong. So it actually sounds quite a nice dinner. I'd like to eat someone's meat.
A bit off the thigh, a bit off the breast.
After I've kicked her back door in, I've attacked the thigh. Yeah. Anyway, in the shelves in the freezer department were
disemboweled.
Can't do it. Yep. Body parts washed and drained of blood of Fred and Edwina, cut up almost perfectly. In the vegetable compartment was the severed heads of Fred and Edwina. Obviously, a murder investigation began, and Charles, their son, was now the main suspect.
Which you would be.
I mean, who else could have killed the parents and locked the house up? Thoughts so far? It was Charles.
Yeah.
We solved the case, that's it. So investigators began to determine what had happened. Edwina had been beaten, possibly last to die. She was shot execution style. Fred had also been beaten relentlessly with a claw hammer. His eyes had been gouged from his skull. And here's the best bit. This is the part you're going to like the most. His genitals had been ripped and hacked off with the claw hammer. Yeah.
Oh.
But there is a reason why his genitals had been ripped and hacked off with the claw hammer.
Is he Jewish?
If not, he is now. Pigs in blankets.
Oh.
Just without the bacon.
What with the cranberries on the side?
Scattered.
Oh.
Bit tasty.
How very Hannibal Lecter-ish.
Maybe eat them. After the couple was murdered, they was dragged to the downstairs bathtub. The bodies were then drained of all blood, and then the bodies were cut, limbs, torso, put into the fridge in pieces. The couple's organs were found days later in a nearby sewer.
But you would expect that would be the best bits. Like heart, liver.
Liver and onions in mash with a testicle on the side.
Bit of gravy.
Pig in blanket. Sounds right.
Banana boat.
That's for afterwards. With a bit of cream on top. Just rubbing it around the rim. And this is probably going to get... The killer had chopped the organs and flushed them down the toilet. To me, I would have just taken them to the sewer personally. I wouldn't go to the effort of getting them lodged in the pipe. There's a lot of things.
Yeah, there's a blockage.
Yeah. There's a blockage and the heart is just lodged there. Now I'm thinking, if Charles did this and the officers never got called, do you reckon Charles was going to come home and cook up the chopped bodies and heads?
You would expect it.
Because he put them in the fridge.
Because you put them in the fridge and the freezer. Like
he's preserving them.
He's preserving them for future use.
Nice. The medical examiner said, and I quote, "Whoever did this took their time and knew what they was doing." It was a fairly neat job.
Open. How to kill somebody and preserve their function.
By Gordon Ramsay.
By Gordon Ramsay.
Definitely Gordon Ramsay. So, well done, murderer. You did an amazing job. He was actually praised for the cutting.
Well, you would expect so. Like, with no medical background, to disembowel somebody, like even the police said there was hardly any blood within the premises apart from splashes in the bathroom.
The house had been carefully cleaned.
Exactly.
Here we go. Tests showed large amounts of blood was cleaned in the bathtub and bathroom floor. The wooden stairs leading to Charles's bedroom had been scrubbed clean. In his room remained clothing, a hot plate, and kettle dishes, and a collection of ham radios. No, it's not ham as in that. Honey glazed ham radio. Also, there was a large amount of blood in the keyhole. Like, was his eye bleeding? The keyhole was used to... Okay, yeah. So he may have eaten bits of them while listening to Ice, Ice Baby.
That's always the freezer.
It's the icebox. Authorities was looking for someone who had experience with anatomy. They believed the keyhole was
and had a coat on.
This is great. It's going down well. The keyhole was used to chop up Fred and Edwina. Estimated they had been dead for 3 days, which means the murders took place on Father's Day.
Yeah.
So keep this one in mind. Charles Fredrick Rogers was 43 years old and said to be extremely intelligent, and with his high interest in electronics, the ham radios, spoke 7 languages and had a bachelor's degree in science. And he also had a degree in nuclear physics.
Yeah, he had a weird thing that...
he seems like he's got a weird issue, mate, if he's cutting up his family.
With his high intelligence.
I thought you were going to say he's high end.
No, with his high end.
He was high end.
No, he was... he had like this uncanny ability to find like gas, oil, gold, like for the companies that he worked for. It's weird.
So he could sniff out oil, gas, and gold. His nose must have made him a fortune. I hope that kid never took cocaine. He's losing out on a really good ability there. He was also a pilot for the US Navy during World War II and served in the Office of Naval Intelligence, and no, not belly buttons.
Well played, sir.
It was good, wasn't it? Upon discharge, he became a seismologist for the Shell Oil Company.
A seismologist.
Is that it?
Seismologist.
Yeah, that sounds really posh for me. I couldn't even say that.
Yeah, it's basically like...
He looks at oil.
It's basically put a radar underground and whatever bounces back. Like that's what I said. He could pretty much find gas, oil, and gold for all of these different like Shell oil and different things. Like just by studying under the water.
So he's quite an intelligent bloke.
He was very intelligent. Like as you said, he worked for like naval intelligence to be precise.
Belly button intelligence. Right.
And he actually excelled in echolocation.
I'm interested.
So the study of basically finding something underwater, the same thing as dolphins would use.
So this man is a walking, breathing dolphin with legs?
Pretty much.
With a long snoot? Because he can find shit.
Yeah.
In the 1950s, Charles is said to have been involved in the Air Patrol, where he met David
Ferrari,
a man later accused of being involved in the plot to assassinate President John F. Kennedy.
Alleged conspirator.
Nice. After 9 years with Shell, Charles just quit his job without reason and moved in with his parents, where he became a recluse, passing notes under the doors with no real interaction. The manhunt was on looking for Charles. Many neighbours and friends of Edwina and Fred had no idea they even had a son.
Yeah.
Despite a nationwide...
It's like the crook.
Yeah.
It's like the all you see is the mum and dad. You
never
see the children.
Yeah.
Until...
Because he's fuck ugly. If he looks like a dolphin and a human with a long snout, he is fuck ugly. How could you miss this man? He's making echo noises everywhere. Damn kid. So anyway, the nationwide manhunt was on and Charles was actually never found. Ever. Which is kind of weird. So, some books state or theorise Charles was a CIA agent and Edwina and Fred had listened in on calls, so Charles had to kill them off. Charles has also been accused of being involved in the assassination of JFK and impersonating Lee Harvey Oswald in Mexico City. The book, though, had been heavily criticised of fictional events and accounts. Although I do like the idea of this tying in with the assassination of JFK.
Yeah, it's like on the grassy knoll.
Yeah. In 1997, forensic accountant Hugh Gardner and his wife Martha began investigating this very case. The book states Charles had dealings with the CIA workers while he was working at Shell. They also state Charles was emotionally abused and physically as a child and adult, which led to Charles cutting off his father's self-mutilation. It ain't bad.
No, it's not self-mutilation.
Well, he's literally ripping apart this guy's cock because it's probably been inside him from a young age. Yeah. And here comes our second strike. But also, they also said that near the end of Fred and Edwina's life, they was defrauding their son's signature on deeds on land he owned and taking loans in his name and keeping the money while he was a recluse. So, Fred and Edwina aren't...
Yeah, they don't seem to...
no, they're a bit shifty.
White picket fence themselves.
They're a bit of a shifty old couple. Don't trust old people.
No.
Trust me. Anyway, the Gardeners label Fred and Edwina as devious con artists. Fred worked as a bookie, regularly engaging in gambling, which I know nothing about.
Oh, really?
And he would abuse Charles sexually, even as an adult.
Oh dear.
Could explain why he fucked him up on Father's Day. Oh, hi Dad, you know that penis you've been sticking in me? I'm going to fuck your genitals off.
Yeah, say hello to my little friend.
Little friend? You should see me with a hammer and a screwdriver, mate. They made claims the Gardeners did that Charles planned this for a long time.
Yeah.
Using his radios to speak to his powerful friends to help him flee to Mexico. Charles was declared legally dead in July 1975 as no one had found him or seen him since the death.
Yeah.
He's a clever man. The house the murders took place, located at 1815 Driscoll Street, remained empty and unsold until it was torn down in 1972. So it literally remained as a murder scene for that long. How fucking interesting. I would have been in there like a shot, like a rabbit down hole. I would have been.
No, you would have been.
I would have been. I've been sniffing the carpets and everything. I like sniffing carpets. I like licking rug. Anyway. Right. Now, clearly Charles is the only suspect here, unless it was someone Fred made a bad bet with. But it's possible Charles did have connections with the CIA.
Yeah.
Clearly. If so, it would explain why no one found any trace of this man.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Right? I read online that Charles was not a recluse. He had a fiancée who would visit her for a whole week at a time. Which doesn't now say that he's a recluse at all.
No.
He hated his parents so much he refused social interaction. Makes sense.
It makes
right?
sense.
It's really quite interesting. I mean, the whole idea of the fact that he had a girlfriend or fiancée who would visit her, he wasn't actually a recluse, he just avoided them.
Well, it's basically family issue, isn't it? Like,
yeah, but
if you don't like your parents, you'd go like tooth for now, anything to get away from them.
Do you reckon that the mother and father of, Charles were listening in on him and like conning him out of money?
Wouldn't surprise me.
It would make sense.
It would make sense.
Right, so are we wanting this guy to be a part of the assassination of JFK? It would tie it in really well.
It would tie it in really well, and to be fair, there's a tiny piece of me that just really wants this to be true.
Or are we going to go with years of torment and mental and physical abuse that led to him chopping them up? Did he know his money and signature was used to fuel gambling and fraud?
You would think you would find out, and
eventually.
Yeah, you would find out eventually, and
right.
you would just.
This is another interesting part. Now, I also found out that Charles was a polymath with psychopathic tendencies, who was told he would be imperfect. He would be a perfect fit for a mission as dangerous as the assassination of JFK.
Wouldn't surprise me.
He would be the perfect fit. Now, if Charles owned the house that he lived in with his parents, why didn't he kick them out? Save killing them. Why didn't you just throw them out on the street? That's one thing that played on my head. If you've had years of sexual abuse and they're conning you out of money, I'd kick them in the face and kick them out.
True.
You wouldn't allow them to stay there.
No, but it's that you don't know what psycho torment this bloke was going through. You know what I mean? Like, it could be that one thing that
he literally
you
moved
want
them in.
to kick them out, but
he
then
literally moved them in though. No. Also, I read online that in the fridge, baby food was in jars.
Yeah.
Right? Now listen to this. Is it possible, by a slim waypoint, that if Fred and Edwina abused their own son, they may have abused more? As there is accounts of them babysitting children.
True.
Right? So is this another thing of the fact that he found out that he wasn't the only child that was sexually abused?
Was going through this.
So he fucked them up for their own purpose. For what they were doing. I mean, it would make sense.
It would make sense. It would definitely back up the mutilation.
Yeah.
Of the father's.
And it would also, I mean, it'd take away the weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I also read online that it could be thought as that the parents were part of a pedophile ring in the area, and Charles knew about it and moved in with them to watch his parents and then plan their death by the CIA. Oh, the plot thickens. Now, he probably wanted to kill them anyway. So the fact that they're part of this pedophile ring
just gives them more ammunition.
Yeah, but I cannot see Charles snapping and killing his family after he allowed them into his home and moving them in. I also don't see someone who had suffered abuse moving back in with them. This theory is based on, by the fact that you run from those who cause you harm. Yeah. I mean, he was clearly...
Yeah, but then
he was away from them for years.
Yeah, but then you've got that thing, like if you're around it long enough, you don't see it.
But then, if you looked at Charles like a rabbit wouldn't get close to a fox if the rabbit knew what the fox did to other rabbits. If that makes sense, you wouldn't allow yourself to become that close unless you're planning their killing.
Yeah, but then you also have that aspect of, to go back to the fox and the rabbit, if that rabbit has grown up with that fox,
you know what the fox is like and you just get on with it. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
But think about this. He quit his job for no reason, became a recluse for a certain amount of weeks, then is decided to kill, his family on Father's Day.
So,
And no one's ever found him.
No. Wow.
What's your theory, sir? This is my theory, is the fact that...
So, when I was reading through it,
yeah,
it does sound like he had a mental break. Someone that's that high up with knowing a lot about everything. To having all of this, not power, but sort of having all of this being, like...
Do you reckon...
popular.
Yeah, do you reckon he...
And then having to then either move into, like, back in with his parents,
but
to think it... You kind of expect something in their brain.
Charles has a lot of money. Clearly.
Yeah.
He has land. They're forging his documents. So do you reckon...
Yeah, but if his money's all tied up in that land, then he can't use it.
Yeah.
So then he can still get loans based off of that land, but he's not what you would call a rich man. Like, you could have 100 acres of land and still be poor. Like, that aspect of it, I'm not too...
Yeah, but...
thing on.
First of all, do you reckon he was part of the JFK assassination? I mean, he killed his mum and dad pretty well.
A lot of things that obviously... Okay, so there's a book out called The Man on the Grassy Knoll by John R. Craig and Philip A. Rogers. Now, according to this book, he is, like, Rogers was a secret agent from CIA, and
I like that theory.
And like as you said, a lot of things do match.
It ties in.
Add up.
It ties in pretty well.
Now I read a little bit further, and there is going around that obviously he was declared legally dead,
which is clever.
Yeah, so that his
estate could do.
So his estate could be probated. Now, obviously, the case does officially remain as
unsolved. Unsettled.
Yeah,
we'll take that.
But obviously, Hugh and Martha, they did a little bit more digging, and according to them, or they concluded, shall I say, that Rogers did murder his parents.
Obviously.
But obviously, when he then fled to Mexico, he was later killed in Honduras. Now, they say he was killed in Honduras for a mugging. That's what the Mexicans have put it down to. Is a mugging.
Sounds a bit shifty, mate.
Basically, would you mug someone by putting a 9mm bullet through the back of their head, execution style, and leaving all of their money with them? No. It sounds like a hit. Now, why would you have a hit just for murdering your parents? Or would you have a hit for being in a very high profile case, like the JFK assassination? I'm not saying it is. But it fits. Why would you then have that hit? Everything's hush. And Hugh and Edwina had to go through, like, they had to, I wouldn't say bribe, the Mexican thing, but they had to talk to a very lot of people to find out that it was a mugging, but execution style.
I like the idea of him killing his family. I'm not condoning this, don't go out and kill your family. But I like the idea of him doing that to get revenge, and him knowing certain things about
some people are saying that the only reason he did not, this is all a backstory.
Yeah.
He did not kill his parents because of what they've said that he killed them for, because of the torment and agony over the years.
Yeah.
As you said, he had a lot of money. He could have just He could have just moved and be like, yeah,
He could have kicked
keep
him
the
out.
house, fuck it.
Yeah, he could have kicked him out.
I'll buy myself another house.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
I mean, he could have kicked him out at any point.
Yeah. So a lot of people were saying he went back to kill his parents so that they couldn't talk.
To keep him quiet.
Because you would trace it back to the lesser known person.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Make them talk if
I also came up with this theory though. I came up with the theory that Charles left the house and came back and his parents were already dead and it wasn't even him. And they were after him, so therefore he fled, changed everything, and no one ever saw him again. He became a ghost.
Yeah.
Well, that's a very smart theory. If he works for the CIA.
Yeah, like this all revolves around if he did. Now, as I said, a lot of things do add up.
And a lot of things don't.
And a lot of things
don't. I know.
But I think we're fairly in agreement.
We're in a good agreement.
That this gentleman, well not gentleman, this dick.
I like him.
Literally's done this crime.
And we solved one. We just don't know why he did it.
Yeah, whether it'd be fled.
Is it possible though that his family got fucking mutilated and fucked up by the CIA because they were after him because they found out that the parents knew,
or he'd been doing some dodgy shit with this gold, oil, and fucking gas or whatever that they keep finding.
He just quit his job to then stay at home to then kill his family and up and leave and disappear and turn into a ghost.
Yeah, like you can have a mental break, but it wouldn't lead you to that straight away.
No, it'd be years of build up.
Yeah.
So we're on the we didn't really solve it, but we got somewhere.
No, but we've gone down the route of it's the best theory that is currently online today. But we've both come there from different points of view.
Kind of a happy ending.
It is.
I do want to go to the butcher's though and get some pork.
Yeah, it does make you a little hungry.
Just a bit.
Well, on that note.
Yeah, on that note, we're the Unsettled. That was the Icebox Murders. Don't forget to subscribe. And we'll see you in the next case, which I am so looking forward to because it involves a family, it involves them being fucked up in the most horrific way, and we'll find it.